to make that change. Just a little bit about me. I come from a humble background. My parents were very passionate about education. So anyone that happens to know, my father was a politician and he was very, very passionate about education. So we have so many people are walking down the streets, and sometimes I was in Chicago the other time. I met someone and I mentioned my name. He was like, Hardy, is your father? And I said yes. And he started to cry that your father was the one that actually saw me through college. So my parents sponsored a lot of people through college, and they were very particular about education. Even though my parents were particular about education and sponsored a lot of people, they did not have the actual knowledge of how to be able to go through college without having to accumulate those debt. Fortunately for me, I was able to learn, from a lot of mistakes that people made. And I was able to, of course, see my way through multiple colleges, of course, earning two different graduate degrees and in a PhD, all of that. And I'm still debt free. So I'm hoping that if you're able to schedule your one-on-one with me, I can show you some of the strategies I use to have multiple degrees, including a PhD, and still not have to owe anyone any money. Today, I'm hoping to teach families, and I do that every single day. I travel around the country and the world, teaching people on finances and, of course, helping people navigate through the college journey with minimum to no debt. So I'm hoping that I will be able to bring some value to someone today. Okay, hoping for you to learn just a few things today, when to start, some of the portfolios out there, important aspects of compounding, risk control. As I said, I try to keep this as simple as possible because I didn't want it to become scary. And this is going to be a short webinar because I know, we're talking about education, but a lot of us cannot keep focus for a long time. So we're going to keep this really short. So I'm hoping to give you talk a little bit about compounding in the simplest form, some risk control and action steps that you can take so that you don't fall into those statistics. Now, how can we fund for colleges? There are so many ways that are out there that you can use to fund your colleges. However, there are some, I call it the secret funding process that the laws of the US does not allow us to just talk to anybody about those funding strategies. It's interesting, right? We all live in the US, but there's information for the informed and information for the not so informed. But of course, with your one-on-one with me, I should be able to help you with those. So there are certain laws that does not allow us to talk about certain funding in public. So it's been reserved. Remember, the financial institutions, they have products that are reserved for their wealthy clients. So we cannot come and then put it in the public that you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. If not, everybody's going to have access to it. So of course, through consultation or probably going to some of your financial institutions and really digging and asking, most of them would say you need to have $2.5 million in assets before they can talk to you about those special kinds. But these are the ones that is open that you can also take advantage of in funding your child's education. We have the Coverdell educational plan. Now that you can go to your banks, they can be able to help you with that. You can go to an investment company, they can also be able to help you with that. Now, even though it's a college plan, you cannot put a lot of money in there. It allows you just a maximum of $2,000 a year. That's the maximum you can put in there. These are different strategies. You can decide to do which one. Some people, $2,000 is more than enough for them. The good side of the Coverdell is there's a lot of options in regards to how your money can grow fast. So that's why some people decide to go that route, but you cannot contribute a lot into that vehicle. Of course, we have the UTMA accounts. That's also with the banks. It's a custodial account for your child where you go to the bank, you open it for your child. Now, the downside, of course, we're going to go through some of the downside and upside of these. The downside of that, of course, is the fact that once your child turns 18, they have access to that money. So you don't want that happening. So of course, if you're someone that is not looking at doing that, you can decide on doing something different. Of course, you can also use a Roth IRA for funding college for the your kids. It has its ups, it has its downs. All of these strategies have ups and downs. However, some have more ups than others. You can also use scholarships and grants. That's one of my favorites. There are so many companies out there that have monies and are looking to give away. But guess what? Most of us are not connected to the right people, right? Or we're not in the right circle. So we're never able to find where those grants and scholarships funds are. Of course, we can be able to channel some your way. So scholarship and grants are one best way. That's my favorite way of funding through college. But of course, you'd have to do a lot of work to be able to get some of these grants, or sometimes it's dependent on the SAT scores or the academics of the child or the child and stuff like that. So that's another route you can use to fund college. And then also we have the popular 529 plans. 529 is a tax code that has been put together specifically for education purposes. So you can use that also to fund your college. It's operated by your state. It has its ups, it has its downs. You can also use life insurance to fund your kids' college. Not just any kind of life insurance, but we do have some special kind of life insurance that you can use. Whereas once the child gets to the college age, you can go into that life insurance and borrow against the life insurance and use it to fund the kids' college. That's also one of my favorites as well. So these are the key funding strategies out there that you can use that is available to anyone. You don't have to have $2.5 million to qualify for that. Now, the 529 plan happens to be the most popular plan in regards to college funding. The reason why a lot of people like it is simply because of it's they said it's tax free, but when you dig deep, it's really not. So the tax benefits is what usually makes it attractive to a lot of people. But it's very, very popular. So I'm sure some of you here already have that or probably use that. What are the advantages? Of course, you can get growth. The growth in there is going to be tax free. If you pull the money out of it and you use it for educational purposes only, you're not going to be penalized or you're not going to pay taxes on it. So, of course, that's a good one. You can use it for anything education, your tuition, fees, books, and stuff like that. And now you can even use it for vocational schools and stuff like that. You can actually, before it was just for college, now you can even use it in some private schools. You can use it in the lower grades, not just for college. It gives you a high contribution limit. Remember the Coverdell we spoke about, it gives you a maximum of $2,000 a year, but with the 529 plan, you can put as high as $300,000 in here for the child, and you can get some tax benefits from that. So that's way higher, and that's why sometimes people run to the 529 plan. It has parental control. So if the child turns 18, you don't necessarily have to hand the account over to them. You can still manage the account till you feel that child is old enough. The proceeds from the money from the policy is actually supposed to be for education. So at age 18, he's still a baby and still in school. So, you, the parent, should be in control. But unlike other college funding plans, once the child turns 18, they can decide to go walk to the bank and decide, I want my money. So that's why most people like the 529 plan. I'm not particularly a fan of the 529 plan, but it's the majority out there that loved it. So I am talking about it today. Also, it's somehow financial aid friendly, depending on how you structure it, but it also has a bad side. So it can be a positive towards financial aid and it can be a negative towards financial aid. If you structure it where it is under the name of the parents instead of under the social security of the child, you can get some wiggle room around getting financial aid. But also there's a big problem to that as well, and we'll talk about it. It's a little bit flexible. Funds are used for college, of course. the beneficiary can be changed. So if your son decides, I don't want to go to college, you can change the beneficiary to your daughter. Make sure your daughter wants to go to college. She doesn't want to follow her brother and decide, I don't want to go to college too. Because if both of them decide, I don't want to go to college, Uncle Sam is going to come after you and penalize you for not using that fund for college. You can also use gift to fund the 529 plan. So if a grandparent wants to write off, maybe your grandpa owns a company, they're looking for some tax write-off, they want to gift some money out, they can dump it in here for the child. So what are some of the negative sides of the 529 plan? Of course, it's also limited in regards to investment choice. Of course, it's better than the Coverdale and some of the others, but there's still, you don't have a lot of choices you can select for your money to grow fast for you. It is restricted, it's by the state. And I don't know if you've been following the news. I'm in the state of Maryland. I think 2 years ago, majority of the people that used the Maryland 529 plan, their monies disappeared. I don't know, nobody knew where the money was, how it was, where it was. It was a whole big thing. So it's handled by the state. So if something goes wrong and someone does not add a zero to somewhere, your money can disappear. So that's just be aware of that. The penalties involved in not using it for college can also be annoying. You can be faced with sometimes 10%. So if you don't use the proceeds for college, the government is going to see that as an income to you. You're going to be paying income taxes on that. Plus, you're going to pay a 10% penalty for not using it for college. It's prone to market risk. So the monies in 529 are on the stock market. So if tomorrow a president comes in the White House and decide, I want to increase tariffs or I want to do this, and the market starts to shake, your money is gone. You can lose money in these buckets. So if you're planning for college, I feel, put it in somewhere where you can never lose the money that is in growing in there. Of course, the investments are subject to ups and downs due to market fluctuations. State regulations could also be a problem for some of these 529 plans. Tax benefit, of course, depends on the state. There are some states that would allow you a percentage of taxes. Some states, the percentage of taxes you can get is little. So the fact that California is giving you 20% write-off for having a 529 doesn't mean Maryland is going to do that. It's probably going to be 5. So every state is different. 529 plans most often could hinder your child's ability to get financial aid, because as they're calculating to see if your child qualifies, if there's so much money, based on how much money you have in that 529 plan, it could reduce your child's chances of qualifying for a financial aid. Also, if your child gets a scholarship and doesn't need the money in there, you would also have to pay a 10% penalty. So we're all praying that our kids get scholarships, right? And get money. So if I'm keeping my money in here for what if, and then my kid gets a scholarship and now I can use the money in there, you're going to face a penalty for not doing that. Now let's talk about some of the college planning myths that we have out there. Mr. David, I would love for you to please be the timekeeper. We want to wrap this up within the next 25 minutes. So please be my timekeeper so that we don't keep you here all too long. It's Friday, it's happy hour. So I'm sure some of you have your wines by your side already and you're sipping. That's a good way to listen into how much money you need to spend for these kids. You need that wine. So get your bottle of wine by your side as you listen to some of these numbers so that and make sure you have your blood pressure pills by you as well. So some of the myth for college planning. Most people think that you have to be wealthy. It's only the wealthy people that should be planning for college for their kids. That's so not true. And we all know that. College happens to be one of the biggest financial commitments that any family can make. Apart from maybe your home, college is going to be the next one. And if you do not plan for them early and you start to get older, it becomes more difficult for you to start to put away. Because remember, once most of the children are about to go to college, you, the parent, is about to retire. So whilst they're in college, you're about to retire. And then what happens? I see so many people having to go into their retirement plans to pull money out to support their children's college. Then what happens if that child comes out of college and cannot find a job? You have also used your retirement plan to sponsor them through college. You are on retirement and you don't have money. So that's how the circle continues. So, of course, it's best to put something away for them. Another myth says what financial aid will cover everything. A lot of people say, oh, I'll just take the loan. I'll just take the. It does not, of course, cover everything. So you should know that even with the financial aid or with the scholarships, with the student loans, it has to be repaid. You'd have to pay it back. So as they're going into colleges that we are planning, please make sure that we're not taking too much loans, because once they get into college, it becomes so attractive. Everyone starts to dangle that loan in front of them before you realize they're taking loans. And I know kids that go to college, they take loans, and don't even use the loan for their education. And they come out of college with all that debt. So, of course, we have to educate our children. And of course, we do this education for kids about to go into college. We have seminars for them to prepare them on how to become financially savvy whilst they are in there. Third myth is it's too late to start saving for my child. My child is already in high school. That's false. It's never too late. It might cost you a little bit more, but I always say something is better than nothing. So even a few years of saving in, let's say I use a 529 plan because that's the most popular that most people know about, and that's the one that's easy to calculate. I didn't want to confuse anyone. So even if for saving in a 529 plan for a few years, by the time the child is ready for, if you have it in the right portfolio in the 529 plan, you should be able to get some kind of money in there. And of course, I say 529 is not my number one choice for college funding, but it is a choice that you could take advantage of. So, for example, also myth number 2 says what the 529 plan savings would hurt my child's chances of financial aid. True, as well. It also says savings will hurt my child's chances of financial aid. True. If you are going to apply for financial aid for your child and you have too much money in your savings, your checking, stocks, bonds, retirement, brokerage, all of those things are used to calculate as to if your child is going to qualify or not. So when we sit and then we plan some of these college strategies for clients, our goal is to make sure that they're taking advantage of vehicles that is not going to expose them in regards to taxes, as well as expose their assets. Because if I'm going to apply for financial aid and you're asking me to let you know what my assets are, if it's in a checking account, you can find it, right? If it's in a savings account, you can find it. But what if I put it in different types of portfolio that is never on those forms? My monies can still be in there growing. So, of course, some of those strategies are what we really recommend for college planning for most of our clients. Myth 5, one parent can save for college. That's not true. Only parents cannot save for college. Your grandparents, the godparents, relatives, friends, everyone can put money together and save for child's college. Another myth, it says what community college is lesser. It's so true. Now, I always tell people, some of us, we did Ivy League, but things are changing now. I tell people, don't rush too much into the Ivy League. Go get some community college, spend 2 years in there, and then transfer. You're going to get the same degree. The rate at which education is actually going, it's going to get to a point. The first degree is not even it doesn't even matter. So you can go to for your first degree in the whole somewhere, and then go and do your grad in an Ivy League. That's what's going to show up, right? So I'd say if you want to go the community college route, nothing against it, but it saves you a lot of money. Start community college, save monies, and then go into the university. Also, for the children that are or the kids that are in high school, there are some states allow them to take pre-college courses. So let them start taking those pre-college courses so that it can cut down the number of years they have to stay in college, and that's going to reduce the payment you have to pay for college. Also, those AP classes that they take, you want to let them take advantage of some of those. I rather say find out if they have pre-college courses. If they do, take that instead of the AP. But if the state does not have it, then go for the AP courses. Scholarships, of course, are for only straight A students or athletes. That is not true. Anyone scholarship exists for all kinds of students. So sometimes for me, one of my degrees that I did that I got a full scholarship for, it was the work I do in the community. That was what got me in. So sometimes simple things you do in the community can be a pass for you to get some kind of leverage or some monies to get into colleges. Sometimes volunteering for some organizations, you might end up getting them to give you some dollars to, fund some kind of college plan for you. So scholarship is not just for those that have straight A's or those that have athletics. If not, some of us will never get into college because I cannot do anything sporty. I'm not a sporty girl. So, but I still go through. But if you're not a sporty girl to do the basketball, the volleyball, and jump around and lift weights, then you can still qualify for college. Of course, there are at the end, I would give you the opportunity to get the way to find some of these, where to find some of these scholarships to take advantage of. Now, there's one key thing you need to take into consideration when you're planning for your kids' college is compound interest. It affects you for the planning, and it affects you also when you start to take those student loans. So compound interest, of course, is known as what? The eighth wonder of the world. They said he who knows it benefits from it. He who does not is going to pay dearly for it. So the compound interest basic is simply saying that how can we grow your savings or the monies you're keeping in these vehicles exponentially so that by the time this child is ready for college, there's enough money in there to help them. That's the part compound interest is going to play. So whatever vehicle you're going to be using, whoever you're speaking with, make sure they are giving you a vehicle that have a compound interest, the opportunity for your monies to grow with compound interest in those vehicles. Outrightly, the savings account is not going to give you that. So if you have those CDs and stuff that you're using, savings accounts, no matter how high the yield is, they say, well, high yield savings, and they give you 2%. So no matter how high yield the savings is, definitely you're still not getting compound interest in that kind of vehicle. But there are vehicles out there that you can leverage. So whoever you're speaking with as your financial professional, make sure you're not going to Google that to get information, because anyone can paste anything on Google. Try to find a professional to be able to help you set up some of these things. If not, it can really come back to bite you in the nose. So compound interest is always great to have it on any vehicle you're using to fund, to grow for college. Using the compound interest vehicle also helps you against market risk. So we know that the market goes up, you make money, it goes down, you lose money. So you're, swinging all the time. You can't build wealth, or you can't get ahead for your kids' college. You can play with the money in that manner. So by using some of these compound interest vehicles, you get to ride the market and be safe. So you get to do and participate in some diversification. So even if this one is not, it's down, this one is going to be up. So your money is always growing all the time. Compound interest can also work against you. So for those of us that are that have student loans, I know someone was telling me that my student loan when I finished school, it was 70 something thousand. I've been paying for the past 15 years. I got my statement and the bill is now $72,000. She was like, it was 72. I started paying. It's been 15 years. The money is still 72. What's happening? It's compound interest is working against you. So whatever interest rate that was given to you, if you decide to multiply that by 72, and I said I'm going to keep the maths out of this, but multiply interest, divide the interest rate by 72, whatever number you get is going to be determining how many years it's going to take you for your money to double in the good sense or double in the bad sense. So if you have student loans, and let's say you have a certain interest rate and you divide that by 72 and it gives you, let's say, 5. It means if you have a student loan of $10,000, you have to make sure you're paying that off within 5 years. If you do not pay it off and 5 years comes, the interest you would have paid on that $10,000 would now be another 10,000. So for that 10,000, you end up paying 20,000 because you did not finish paying for it within the 10 years. Same thing with the positive side. If your money is growing in the compound interest vehicle, and you divide it and it says 5 years, it means if you have 10,000 in there, every 5 years, that 10,000 is going to double. Every 5 years is going to double. So by the time that child is ready for college, the money has compounded and it has doubled. So that's how compound interest can be explained in the simplest form for you. Now, this is just an example of how the magic of compound interest can work in your favor. So let's say you're making, you have to make your money work for you. That you cannot deny that. Your money should always be working. And Warren Buffett says it best. He says, if your money is not working for you whilst you are asleep, you are not making money whilst you are asleep, you're going to work till you die. So we need to make sure that as we're sleeping, our monies are working for us. We need to work, it needs to work hard for us because we work hard for our money, right? So quick example how you can get this money to work hard for you. Putting $100 a month in, let's say, a great vehicle. And again, I cannot specifically recommend anything for anyone because I believe everyone's financial journey is different. I'm not one of that financial strategists that would say, go get a high yield, go do this, go and do this. I sit with every client and I believe every client has a different journey. Someone would 529 would be the best option for them. Someone, it could be something totally different. So let's say we're going with a vehicle that is popular. So let's say we decide to open, let's say, a Roth IRA for the child, and we're putting away $100 a month. So that's not too bad. Sometimes these kids, they have their birthdays, people bring in money. You can start saving it into these plans for their kids, or you file your taxes at the end of the year. Instead of us buying the Louis and stuff like that, don't put in something for the kids. So $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. If you continue to say and put that in a vehicle, 5 years, that's going to be $6,600 plus, depending on the vehicle. If we use a vehicle that, let's say, is giving you 6% growth, by year 10, you're going to have 16,400 in there. By year 18, you're going to have $38,000 in there. So you contributed what? 21,000, but because of the compound interest on the vehicle, you have an extra 16,400 that you can be able to add to the money that you have to be able to fund college. One key thing you need to make sure is make sure that whatever interest rate you're getting on whatever vehicle you're using, at least it should be more than 4%. If you're getting anything less than 4%, your growth is going to be stunted. It means what? Inflation is catching up so quick to your money. By the time that child is ready for college, it has the growth of your money is like your money is dead, right? So you need to make sure you're getting high interest rates on whatever you're using. And you also need to make sure that you're keeping it in vehicles that you're not going to be losing too much in those vehicles. This is just a quick example of a client that we helped many years ago when we met this child. Oh my goodness, he was 2 years old when we met him, and the parents decided we're going to put away $200 every single month into this for the child. We're going to contribute into this for just once he turns 18, we're not contributing into this again. We got him a vehicle back then that growth was 7.44%. So that wasn't too bad. Now we have growth that are 13%. I know some of my clients are making 12% growth, 13%. Some are even doing 20% growth on some of these vehicles, depending on which one you decide. So of course, $200, that's $2,400 every year that is going into this vehicle. The strategy for this plan that we've set up is once that 19, he gets to 19, he would have contributed a total of $43,200 into this vehicle. Now, what are we going to do? At age 19, of course, he's graduated. He has to go and hang out with his friends. So we're coming in here and pulling out $3,000 for him to go and splurge on his graduation trip. That's why I said make sure that whatever vehicle you're using is flexible. So if you go and get yourself hooked to a vehicle that you can use the money there in there only for education, it means the child cannot use it for anything else. So $3,000 is not education, but he's going to use it, pull it out and use it for his grad trip. He's going to stop contributing. Parents will stop contributing at age 19. And he is going to come out of college at age 23. At age 23, the goal is he's going to be pulling $6,000 out of this every year. And we're structuring it in such a way where a minimum amount is going to go on the payment, and maximum amount is going to go on the principal. So we've structured it in such a way where, of course, we've done the calculations to know how much we can stretch, how long we can stretch that 43,000 in there. But of course, because this is a compound interest vehicle, it has accumulated. It was at a 7.44%. The growth was quite great. So $6,000 is going to be coming out every year to pay for college. A total of $72,000 because we're going the community route, starting 2 years in community college and then heading to the university after. So we're estimating, of course, we have a calculator that I would share with you as well to be able to calculate to know if my college is going to be 100,000, how can we structure it so that this is how much you're going to be putting away every month so that you are able to know exactly how much money is going to be in those funds when the child is ready to pay. So we've calculated how much it's going to cost him for college, 72,000. We're structuring it in such a in this way, and we're going to look at and clearing this debt off within the first 10 years of him coming out of college. Of course, this is using the minimum amount, which is the $200. If along the line, which she has decided to do once in a while, she's going to probably put 250, 300, sometimes in there, meaning we will be able to clear this debt before 10 years. So he's coming out of college and we're structuring it where the debt is going to be cleared within the shortest possible time. We've also made it so flexible where he is going to clear that debt. And there was one more slide here that I didn't put in. Yeah, so we're structuring it where he is looking at pulling out also $15,000 out of here for a down payment on his home. So we're paying that college off. He's coming in, having access to some of the monies that is growing in here. Down payment on his first home. He's going to use that. And of course, we stopped paying into this when he was 19. Never put a dime in it ever again. All he put in was 43,000. The money has compounded over the years. He's had this policy at age 65. He still has his plan in place. At age 65, guess what? He now switches this into a retirement strategy plan that supplements whatever retirement plan he has. If Social Security is still around, that's great. He gets something from there. But if not, now he has $50,000 that is going to be paid out to him every single year for the rest of his life here. So if he lives to be age 76 before he passes away, so at age 71, he would have pulled out, starting at age 66, he would have pulled out $178,000 out of this college plan. All he put in was 43,000. He's pulling out 178 for paying student loan, down payment on his house, and he started paying and taking retirement income out of here. Then what? 71. Of course, he's still taking the 50,000 every year. How many senior citizens do you know that makes $50,000 a year from not working? Not a lot. But if you are able to structure, and the great thing is the younger you are, the cheaper it is. So it becomes easier. So $200, if he lives to be 76, he would have been able to grab over $678,000 out of this plan. So he's used it all his life. So what have you done for your child? By setting up some of these plans, you've set them up for success. You've built a legacy and left it behind for them. Most people, when we talk about college, they're just thinking about paying for that child to go to school. But if you're setting your child up, you want to set them up and leave a legacy. So don't just think about him going through college. You need to put a plan in place that can protect him when he's going to college. When he's out of college, he can benefit from that plan as well. And if he decides he wants to stretch it, he can also use that same plan for a retirement to be part of his retirement strategy. So if he use certain plans, of course, you can pay off student loan, get the books, go to the college, buy foods, expensive, all of those things you can get to pay for it. But what if you've put a plan in place and your child gets out of college, which we see all the time, and can't find a job? He's home, back in your basement. We don't want that to happen, but he's back in your basement. Now you're still taking care of him. So he has the degree, you've pumped the money in, and are you going to say that's wasted? But if you have the right plan in place, now he can fall back on that. And maybe he comes out of college and says, I don't want to work for anyone. I want to start a business. I'm coming out of college. I've seen a beautiful girl I want to marry. You know, now all of these plans start to trickle in, and you start to use some of these plans to pay for all of these things. So I'm rounding up in conclusion here. Key things, strategies, of course, you need to do. We need to start early. Planning is essential. You need to use smart portfolios. When you're sitting with whatever financial professional, I'm hoping it's going to be with us, where we can give you guidance on what to do. But if you're sitting, where can you keep, what portfolio is the smartest that can give me the maximum benefits? It could be a 529 for you. It could be a Coverdell for you. It could be a 7702 plan for you. It could be anything for you, but it depends on the individual. Actionable steps I'm hoping everyone could take today is to decide to probably scan the QR code, book a free 30 minutes consultation. Usually this is $12,000, but for today, we're waiving the $12,000 fee and we're giving it to you for free, where we're going to sit with you for 20 minutes for free. We'll help put in and give you a copy of the college cost calculator. So you're able to calculate exactly how much you're going to need for college, exactly how much you need to start putting away, and exactly how that growth is going to look. We're also going to help you put a college plan comparison tool, so you can be able to compare this college costs this amount, this one costs the amount. What benefits can I get from this college to reduce my cost? All of those things is very important. Don't just go into the college. You have to shop around. And of course, with AI and all of these software that we've been able to develop, you can just be able to pull the database from so many colleges and be able to compare and see which one can give you the better option. We're also going to help you have access to some of the scholarship search database for you to see if you can tap into that as well. Would give you access to a financial aid estimator as well that you can use to see, okay, this is what I have. If I have it sitting in this vehicle and my child applies for financial aid, how much money am I likely to get? Okay, I need to move this from here, put it here, and move my assets around so that my child can get more money. That's what the financial aid estimator does. We can also sit with you and do some tax efficient planning for you as the parent that is going to be paying and contributing towards college. How can I be able to get some tax breaks from putting money away for my own child's future? We'll show you some of those. And of course, we can give you some financial aid optimizer. That's another software that we can offer to you. This usually comes in a package of $12,000. It's actually more than $12,000. Usually for the college cost, the scholarships such database alone is $12,000. Just that alone. So for this, we're going to do all of these 6 for you for free if you are able to schedule something. David, what deadline should we give them? Okay, we'll give them what, till tomorrow or till Monday?
Yes, I would email each and every one. I would message each and every one with a QR code so that those that didn't get the opportunity, those that are joining with their phones will get to have the QR code and scan it probably after the meeting if they are not able to do it now.
Okay. So at least I'm gonna give you guys till Monday to schedule something because remember, if I leave it open, it means I'm never gonna get business too, right? Someone is gonna hold on to this and pass it on to their friends and their friends, friends, and friends, friends, and my money is gone. So I'll give you guys till Monday. If you're able to schedule a 30-minute slot, you will be able to have access to this. This is the QR code. You can scan it, and then be able to book an appointment or call that number. We would love to sit with you and help you. I would have loved to open it up for questions, but if you have any question, please send the questions to this email. We would gladly help you. You're probably looking for solutions for your children. You're confused. Don't do this alone. There are professionals out there that have the expertise to do this. I know sometimes we go to google.com and go and look around. Google is a great resource, but it's not everything on there that is accurate. So make sure that you're reaching to professionals that can help you. I'm going to stop right here. Thank you guys all for coming on tonight. It was such a pleasure hanging out with you guys. Every other Friday, we do have different webinars. I think next webinar, we're going to be talking on how to save on taxes, right? We're doing a tax strategy one.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to have some secrets. Every time I do this tax strategy webinar, I get I get a call from the governors that what are you doing? I get call from people in high places that what are you doing? You are letting all our secrets out. So when they say the rich are not paying taxes, yes, we're not. But there are some strategies that we're using. It's legal. So make sure you're on next week or next 2 or 3 weeks. I think next 2 or 3 weeks. And hop on. We have so many of these things that we're doing. We're going to talk about retirement planning. We talk about wills. We talk about trust. So many things that we're always speaking and talking about. So make sure that you're following David and you're responding to his emails and see when some resource is going to pop up for you to take advantage of it. Thank you, David, for inviting me. It was such a pleasure. And I look forward to coming back sometime in the future. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so, so much, Dr. Himdi. Thank you so, so much, Dr. Himdi. It is a great privilege to have you here and to give free consultation because I didn't even know you were going to do this at the end of the meeting. So it's a very great privilege. And I think everyone should hop in and take advantage of the free 30 minutes consultation with Dr. Himdi. Yeah. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Your presence actually shows your commitment to securing a stronger financial future. And I say a special thank you once again to our special guest, Dr. Himdi Hadi Pointer and Rachida for your wisdom that you have shared generously. So now, don't let tonight end here. Take action, book your one-on-one, and start building your financial future and the future that your kids deserves. Thank you all for making it through. See you soon some other time. Bye.